Good morning. Getting all my buttons going. All right. I want to do a 5-day nighttime eating reset challenge. And so, with the nighttime eating reset challenge, I'll come on every day at some point of the day and give you just a little bit of lesson so that you can get going with it. Okay. So, I'm Kara. I am a weight loss coach and I am ready for welcoming you to day one. So, the nighttime eating reset challenge. I'm so glad you're here because this is one of the biggest struggles I hear from people. It was one of my biggest struggles, late night eating. You've had a long day. You're finally sitting down, and all of a sudden, the pantry or the fridge is calling your name. Here's the truth, it's not just about the food, it's about what's happening underneath. And that's what we're going to uncover today. So let's look at two different experiences because I help a lot of women who are taking weight loss medications, and I help a lot of women who are not. So I want to make sure both of you hear exactly what you needed to hear. So if you are on weight loss medications, you may not even feel hungry during the day. You might even force yourself to eat because you know you should. But then at night, it's like your brain and your body are screaming for something that often isn't even physical hunger at all. You know, logically, you've eaten. All day, you've eaten what you were supposed to eat. But at nighttime, you feel famished, like you've never eaten anything all day. It's old habits, or it could be an emotional need, comfort, or loneliness, boredom, overwhelm, something. If you're not on medications, everything I said could still apply to you, but maybe you feel those urges even more strongly because you don't have the medication quieting down the food, that food chatter. The desire can feel stronger and more insistent. Either way, here's the key. Before you grab that food, just pause, take a breath, a pause. Ask yourself, am I actually physically hungry? And I say actually because sometimes our brain says, yes, you are, girl. And I say physically because we now know that there's an emotional desire to eat, that big craving and urge. And there's physically, does my body physically need any food? So, am I physically hungry? Actually, am I actually physically hungry? Or is this something else? So all those something else's, right? So for example, I remember when I thought I was hungry. It was like 9 p.m. one night. Let's just be honest, it's every night. And when I looked closer, I realized I wasn't hungry. I was lonely, or I was tired, or I was overwhelmed with my day. And food, it was a stand in. It was providing some distraction or some comfort from something else. So let me answer some questions here. All right. What if I really am hungry at night? Girl, if you are hungry, eat. If you are physically hungry and you're like, I don't know. I want you to eat. I want your body to feel so safe that it can have food anytime it gets hungry, physically hungry, and that you're going to feed it. And so it trusts then that you're going to give it to it. So it's not going to be trying to be like, no, 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 I'm holding on to the weight because she might be trying to diet or starve me. No, if you are physically hungry, eat. And guess what happens if you're wrong? You've got information. Your brain quieted down for a moment. You were able to figure it out. And you now know, guess what? I'm not that hungry. So if you need food, I want you by all means to eat. Let's see, what else? You can always adjust later, right? Every single time you can adjust. Next question. How do I tell the difference between real hunger and emotional hunger? Yeah, I was talking about that, right? So the difference between real hunger and emotional hunger, this is something I teach my clients because when we were babies, when we were little childrens, right? We knew if we were hungry, we knew if it wasn't important, right? We knew if mom came at us with a bottle and we were hungry, we'd gulp it down. If not, we'd turn our face away. Like, I just don't want it. It's really hard to force feed a baby to eat when they're not hungry, but we lose some of that. And so I help my clients tap back into what is a hunger cue and what's not. And so we do a lot of different types of things to help you really figure that out because that's one of those things that can always change a little bit. And you getting really good at knowing when your body's physically hungry, like you have physical hunger, it is super important because things shift throughout your life. And so always being able to check back in, having that ability to be wrong as you're discovering it is really important. So typically, if your stomach is growling, girl, you're hungry. If you're about ready to pass out, you're hungry. And so, those are usually the extremes people figure out first, right? We know when we haven't eaten all day and we're got the vapors or something, right? We're getting sick to our stomach because we haven't eaten. We're getting lightheaded because we have not eaten. And so as we start realizing that's the extreme, what could be the next little cue I could find before I get to where I'm ready to pass out. And we just keep figuring that out. So common ones, stomach, growling, emptiness, complete emptiness in our stomach, feeling like all I can think about, which this one's tricky. So that's why I usually work with people as we're discovering this. But like, am I thinking like, is it time for food yet? Is it, when's lunch? Well, I'm having a hard time concentrating kind of stuff. That can also happen when we are having urges and cravings. So that's why I say that one's a little tricky, but I definitely help my clients with that one. An emotional hunger. If if a friend called and said, "Let's go, whatever your favorite activity is," and you could walk away from food, you probably were not really physically hungry. It was emotional hunger. If you're like, "Hold on, let me eat a couple of things and then we can go," it was probably physical hunger, right? So just some different things like that. So we're looking for how our body feels, not just what our mind is. So we have that like emotional satisfaction, we have that physical satisfaction. Was my body physically hungry? Did I have enough food? Am I just not satisfied because something isn't there emotionally? Let's see. I got a couple more questions, it looks like. What if I'm bored? Is that emotional hunger? We as a generation do not have all of the language for all the emotions that we have. And so learning that bored is absolutely an emotion, learning that all these different things are emotions is important because as we know what the emotion is, then we start knowing how to fix that emotion. And so, yeah, boredom is absolutely an emotion and it can be emotional hunger. You're emotionally hungry for stimulus, like some kind of stimulation, activity, entertainment, excitement. So yeah, that's an emotional hunger, boredom would be. Lots of them are. There's a thing called a feelings wheel. And it was interesting to look at the different variety of feelings. It's like getting the big box of crayons, right? Those really big boxes, and you've got all the colors you've never heard of before. So on the feelings wheel, it's similar like that, where it would be all the different feelings. So yeah. Let's see here. I lost my other question. Where'd it go? Oh, what if I eat enough during the day but still want food at night? Maybe I'm not understanding this. What if I eat enough during the day but I still want food at night? If you're eating during the day and you're wanting food at night, are you, I guess my question is, are you hungry at night? Like, did you not get enough during the day? Is that what you're asking me? If I eat enough during the day but I still want food at night? Um, I can tell you that a lot of times I wanted food at night, right? It was my habit. It was fulfilling some emotional need for me. So yes, I wanted food at night. If you're wanting to eat at night, like with your family, and you're physically hungry, that might be different. Maybe that's what you're asking me. So like maybe your family eats later in the day. Make sure you're physically hungry so we can adjust things so that we can be physically hungry when we eat. Or sit down and just hang out with them if you're not. I hope that answered your question. If not, just message me back and I would be glad to do that. So, all right. This is what I do inside of the Sustainable Success Program. It's a group coaching program where I help people just like this. We learn skills so that we can develop really great habits. We are figuring out the emotional eating part of it. And I love that because when you have really great habits and the ability to create them as needed, you have an understanding of your feelings. You are the person who takes care of yourself. You don't keep looking for another diet to fulfill that. You're not looking for other people to have to fulfill that. So we don't just focus on what you're eating. We help you figure out why. Whether you're on medication or not, building these habits is what makes weight loss actually last. So here's your day one challenge. Ready? Tonight, just notice. That's all I want you to do. If you notice that you have an urge or a craving, you find yourself in the pantry or standing in front of the fridge, when that urge hits, write it down, what you were feeling. No judgments, just awareness. And if you're ready to go deeper with this kind of coaching every week for 12 weeks, that's what the program is. It's a 12-week program. Join me inside the Sustainable Success Program at www.coachingkara.com/success. All right. Make sure that you look back for tomorrow, so that you can find the next video of the challenge. I will see you later.